Welcome to ChunkSmash. Starting in Lumbridge, I've been unlocking Runescape one chunk at a time. The last episode, I rolled my first death chunk. Obscure minigames, endless grinds, and tough decisions, this chunk has it all. Can I make it through? Let's find out. Alright, last episode we rolled the Western Lumbridge Swamp Chunk, and it's got not one, not two, but three massive grinds. Some of the decisions I make this episode will permanently change the direction of this account forever, so I want to make sure I explain things correctly. First, we have what I call the Swamp Cave tasks. Access to the Swamp Caves gives the following grinds. Level 90 Herblore for extreme defense potions. Level 55 Slayer for the various Slayer weapons that Jacqueline sells. The Slayer Staff, Leaf-Bladed Spear, and Broad Arrows. The Light Mystic Hat and Light Mystic Gloves drop from Wall Beasts and Rock Slugs respectively. And Long and Curved Bones from Giant Frogs. The main grind here is level 90 Herblore. I get this task because I can get Cadentines, Landatimes, and Whiteberries from Cave Crawlers, which allows me to make extreme defense potions at level 90 Herblore. Why is this grind so big? Well, my best training method would be killing cave crawlers, who drop herbs and some secondaries. By my math, each cave crawler is worth about 9.2 Herblore XP, so I would need to kill about 560,000 cave crawlers. If you assume I can kill one cave crawler every 6 seconds, so 600 an hour, which actually seems optimistic, then that would be about 1,000 hours to get the drops. I still need to clean the herbs, buy the vials, which I get from buying plant cure from farmers, emptying the cure and then filling at a water source, and then I need to make the potions. So maybe 1,500 hours total. It's definitely a big grind. I can also get the Swamp Paste to make Harrow-Lunitar, which might speed things up a little bit, but I don't think it would make a material difference. There is a caveat though, because I can't do anything in the Swamp Caves without a light source. Now, I've checked and I don't think I can get a light source anywhere within my chunks, but I can get a light source from the 2024 Halloween event. Specifically, the Pumpkin Mask. That event's probably already over by the time you're watching this, but it was around whilst I was making this decision. The Halloween event is a bit of a chunk grey area for me. All the new holiday events are in a dedicated instance area of the game that doesn't exist within a rollable chunk, and you can teleport there via the lodestone system. So, I'm allowed to go there by most chunk rule sets. That said, I've talked in the past a bit about how I don't really feel temporary content is chunky. The current Halloween event allows you to level all sorts of difficult to train skills way more efficiently than I normally could, and I definitely feel using those methods would break the spirit of a challenge for me. That said, not getting the light source also feels bad. It feels a little bit like I'm deliberately dodging a grind on a technicality. I need to think a bit more about this before making a final decision, but for now, I have gone to the Halloween event, specifically to get the light source, but I haven't decided if I will actually use it yet. I will be focusing on other grinds in this episode, and I'll be returning to the Swamp Caves later. Next up we have Ripper Demons. I unlocked the Ripper Demon chunk last episode, but because I couldn't train Slayer, I couldn't kill them. I've now unlocked Slayer once again, both via Slayer tasks in the Lumbridge Swamp Cave and via a minigame called Shattered Worlds, so Ripper Demons are back on the table. This is unfortunate to say the least, because first I will need level 96 Slayer just to kill them. That's a horrific grind, probably 1,000 plus hours. Then, I need to get several unique drops for the collection log, including the Ripper Claw at 1 in 10k, the Offhand Ripper Claw at also 1 in 10k, and the Parasitic Orb for the pet at 1 in 30k, because fuck you. That last one is hilariously awful. Like, some JMod really needs to look in the mirror over that one. Even for a main account, chasing a 1 in 30k pet drop without bad luck mitigation is a monstrously awful grind, and Ripper Demons are a terrible monster to kill as well. They're tougher than most RS3 bosses. I need to test this, but it's quite possible that I can't even kill one with the gear I have available to me. But like the Swamp Caves, we won't be focusing on Ripper Demons this episode, so I'll talk more about this at a later date. This brings us to the third big grind, and the focus of this episode, Shattered Worlds. Shattered Worlds is a solo minigame released in 2017. An alliance between the Void and Temple Knights is dedicated to protecting Gielinor from the deadly monsters that pour forth from the Abyss. To that end, they recruit us to venture into the Shattered World minigame and, well, basically just kill lots of abyssal monsters. Mechanically, the minigame consists of levels. Each time you complete one, you unlock the next level. The levels get progressively tougher, with more monsters and more difficult monsters, and they give progressively more rewards, in terms of Shattered Anima, the minigame currency. I think the most extreme version of a chunk rule set here will be to unlock every single item from the reward shop, which would cost about 1.5 billion Shattered Anima. I'd estimate this to take about 200 to 500 hours because I really don't know how fast I can get Shattered Anima. I think the minimum requirement would be to unlock anything that has a benefit to the account. That would probably cost about 500 million Shattered Anima, so still a weighty grind of about 100 hours. I'm actually going to go for something in the middle. I'm going to unlock anything with an account benefit, however small, any pets because I say in my intro that I unlock all pets, and at least one of the 3 titles you can get. But I won't get all the titles, and I won't get any of the Slayer masks that don't progress the account at this point. Later on in this episode, I'll also start purchasing Slayer contracts so that I can passively level my Slayer as I gather Anima, and try to chip away at that level 96 Slayer goal. It's hard to know exactly how much Shattered Anima I need, because I don't know how much I'll spend on Slayer contracts, but probably about 1 billion Anima, so maybe 200 hours? I'll also need level 65 attack and level 65 range to use the reward unlocks, but I'll get those passively grinding out the Anima. This is by far the biggest grind I've taken so far in this account, but amusingly, by far the smallest of the 3 unlocked this episode. I think Shattered Worlds is where I'm going to start, and it will be the focus of this episode. Finally, there's some miscellaneous tasks that won't take much time, but I'll mention for completeness. I have access to iron and coal rocks in the West Lumbridge mine, so now I can make full steel armor as a new best in slot. I can kill desert stripe worms at level 77 Slayer for a focus site. I can start the Lost City quests, and I can complete 3 Lumbridge diary tasks. A lot of these tasks start having overlaps with whether or not I can enter the Lumbridge Swamp Cave, and it gets a bit complicated, so I'll leave it here for now. I think I've spent enough time on exposition, so let's just get on with the chunk, and we'll figure it out as we go along. Okay, time to enter this chunk officially. Don't know if I get a new track. I guess not. There's a lot packed into this chunk. Firstly, we have the entrance of the Lumbridge Swamp Cave here. Then we have the D&D campaign. That starts the Lost City quest, so that's cool. Just over here is the Shattered World minigame. I suspect I'll be spending a lot of time here. I just need to check something. Let's talk to this guy, Kenton Descartes. What's he got to say? Okay, so the portals are how you get in. I need to check if I can actually reach the minigame within my chunk. Okay, so I'm looking at a more precise version of the chunk map. I have another screen for reference that shows every tile. So from this square, I can go another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chunks down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yes, I can get into this portal. I mean, the chunk picker certainly thinks I can get in because it shows Bladed Dive as a chunk task. Can I get into this other portal? No, I can't. It's one chunk further south. So I can get into the regular portal, but not the challenger portal. They're slightly offset. So I guess I can't do challenges? I don't even know what the difference between the portals is. Stop. Future Smash here. Let's rewind a minute to this exact moment. There. Look at this scene. Ignore Bubbles saying blub blub blub. He doesn't know what's going on. He's just an anglerfish. Look at this red line on the screen. This red line is the exact border of my chunk. I correctly measured out just how far south I could go without leaving. It is exactly this point. I can interact with and enter the Shattered Worlds portal without leaving my chunk. But What I didn't realize was, there is a divide within the chunk community, just as stark and harsh as this red line. It's one of those divides where you live under the happy assumption that everyone does things the way you do, blissfully unaware that there are people out there in the wild pronouncing it GIF instead of GIF, or people who put toothpaste on a dry toothbrush and only then put it under the tap instead of wetting the toothbrush first. I digress. The point is, there seems to be two schools of thought in the chunk community. One group, which includes me, thinks that as long as I don't leave my chunk, then everything else is fair game. A monster spawning outside my chunk? If I can lure it in, then that's great. I can kill it. An item just out of reach? I can telegrab it if I want. A portal that I can reach out and touch without leaving my chunk? And it's my right, no, my responsibility to go through that portal and murder whatever's on the other side. But there's another group that disagrees. They think you can only interact with things strictly within the borders of your chunk. No luring in monsters, no telegrabbing items, and definitely no touching mysterious portals sitting right at the edge of your chunk boundary. Which group is right? Who's to say? I mean, obviously I think it's the first group, that's why I'm going in to do Shattered Worlds, but my point is, if you disagree, that's fine. For what it's worth, at the time I didn't know this was even a discussion point. I'd seen the big OSRS YouTubers lure stuff into their chunks all the time. I mean, Frey even had his main account steal a monkey from Trouble Brewing. If you're horrified by the idea of me using this portal, I just want to say, I'm sorry, and I understand. Just console yourself in the knowledge that doing Shattered Worlds adds a massive grind to my account, so at least I'm not making life easy on myself. Anyway, back to the rest of the chunk. Next up there is the West Lumbridge Mine, which contains steel and iron, coal and iron, sorry. And I think that's it really. I have the water altar, but I'm only level 1 rune crafting, so I can't even do anything if I get a water talisman. So no chunk task here. The only other thing I guess is all of these frogs hopping about. I'm not sure if they're relevant, probably not. I figured I would start with getting myself full steel armor because that's going to make the combat grinds in the swamp caves easier. And that's the diary task, iron on, mine and iron ore in Lumbridge. Alright, so I got my first bunch of iron back and I'm going to make an iron ore box so I can store my iron ore, and then I'm going to go make a steel ore box too so I can store coal in it as well. I've got my first batch of coal so I can make my first inventory of steel bars. Alright, steel ore box, here we come. And there you go, the steel ore box, so I can now get a full inventory of iron and coal, and that should be enough bars for the rest of it. Okay, I've got to 31 smithing from this inventory. I made a full set of steel gear, turned the rest into arrow tips just in case they're useful for fletching. I'll need level 35 smithing later on for cannonballs, but I'll do that later. Oh wait, I should make steel studs too. That's part of my best in slot range setup. I can add steel studs to a hard leather body, I think. First, let's take a look at the steel gear, a little bit of a fashion show. This is my full steel armor. I can switch between the plate body and the chain body for fashion, and the plate skirt and the plate legs. This stuff is tier 21, so a nice upgrade over bronze. I made the steel maces as well for the same reason as, oh my god. They look ludicrously big. I mean, what the fuck? Those maces. Massive. Yeah, they're my best in slot prayer gear because they have a prayer bonus, just like the bronze maces before. I mean, I won't use them, but technically it's a best in slot. Now I think I can also attach these studs to my hard leather body to get a studded body. Oh, it can only be attached to normal leather. Okay. I got rid of all my normal leather gear. I think so. I'll get another. I'll get more. Give me a minute. Okay, I got some cowhide. Let's go make some leather. Turn this into a leather body. Now let's try adding some studs, and you get studded armor. So now I have 3 types of leather. I have regular leather, which is the worst, hard leather, which is in the middle, and studded leather, which is tier 20. I don't know if you can add studs to any other leather gear, but if so, I'll have to do that too at some point. I can't remember if I saw this in the chunk picker actually. Okay, I am here in my ugly ass best in slot melee gear, which is full steel and these addy legs. I look like an idiot, but stats are stats. It's not the sexiest, but I can't not wear it. Now, I have a rope in my inventory, but I'm a little concerned because I thought there was a candle seller here at the entrance, but he seems to be gone. I'm just going to try going in. Future smash here. Yeah, this doesn't work. If you go in, you get forced out again if you're near the entrance, and you can't interact with anything down there anyway. I looked around in my chunks, I couldn't find a light source anywhere, so I gave up. I've since been told about the pumpkin mask as an option, but video me doesn't know about that yet, and this is also from before the Halloween event even happened anyway. So in the end, I gave up on the swamp cave for now, and decided to start with Shattered Worlds instead. Hey, if you've enjoyed the videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. It makes a big difference in terms of how the video performs on YouTube, and helps get better visibility with the algorithm. Plus, I play Runescape, so I want my numbers to go up. Alright, just refreshing my mind speaking to this guy over how this is going to work. I have done Shattered Worlds before on my regular Ironman for Bladed Dive, but honestly, it was a long time ago. I think they give you gear when you go in. I have some vague memory of that. Yeah, equip me and feed me. Choose a mutation. I have no idea what's good, but Blood Bunny says more anima, and that's what I want, so let's go. Oh, cool. So I should probably change my combat XP to be attack, because I'm going to get Bladed Dive first, because it's probably the most useful thing for me first, and I'll need 65 attack to use it. So just looking at my inventory, and they gave me magic and ranger gear too, as well as my swords, and all this food, so this is probably just the best way for me to gain combat stats, right? Because they'll basically give me decent gear. I hadn't really thought about this beforehand, but now I'm looking at it. Does this scale with my attack level? Like, will I eventually get tier 90 gear in this place? I mean, this is an incredible unlock for me. There's like no way anything competes with this XP wise in the overworld, right? I mean, this might be absolutely nuts. Okay, I forgot to record my first set of 5 worlds. Each set of 5 worlds is like a checkpoint, but I've just finished the 10th world for 120k XP, 120k anima in total, and it took about 6 minutes, so hopefully this rate will get better as I get to higher worlds. That's level 43 attack. I mean, the XP is only actually just okay so far, to be honest. Hey, and level 74 HP. I just finished world 15, and the next set of 5 worlds got me 500k anima in about 7 minutes, so that's a lot better. I guess we just keep going, right? That's weird. I only got another 500k anima for doing worlds 15 to 20. I feel like that's not much better than the last 5 worlds. Am I missing something? Level 46 attack, nice. And this is world 26 done for 820k anima in about 9 minutes again, so that's still getting better in terms of anima per hour. I wonder what I cap out at. Alright, I am probably about to die, but never fear. My hardcore status is safe, because this is a safe minigame. Also, look at my attack XP, 80k XP per hour. So I was getting like 60k in the catacombs, so already this is better XP, and I think the XP will only get better as I get better attack levels and unlock better weapons. And how much anima do I get from this chest? I got 860k total. Alright. In about 15 minutes, so that's definitely slower than the last set of 5 worlds. So I guess the idea is to farm the highest set of worlds that you can do relatively quickly without dying. I mean, if you care about maxing your anima per hour. Because yeah, I can just choose to do an earlier set of 5 worlds. I don't have to do the highest ones I've unlocked. So I'm almost dead, again, but this is going to be 50 attack. Boom. So if I'm right, I can get better weapons. Moment of truth. I can get better weapons. Look at that. Rune Abyssal Swords. I had Addy ones before. So now I should do more damage. Do higher worlds, get more anima, and more XP per hour, right? I mean, this is great. This is going to be another record-breaking 5 worlds, and I breezed through it. Look how much food I have left. And there you go, the system update message is making it hard to see, but that's like 1.6 million anima in 8 minutes. That's great. Boom, that's 60 attack, so next time I restock, I will get the next set of weapons, tier 60 Abyssal Swords. So I should get even stronger. The bad news is, I checked the wiki and you stop getting better weapons past level 60. So if I get level 70 attack, nothing new, I don't unlock anything else, which sucks, but I guess it makes sense. It would be a little bit busted otherwise. This does mean that I will probably stop leveling up attack once I hit 65 because I'm already 100% accuracy against everybody in this place, so leveling past the requirement for Bladed Dive is probably just a waste. Also, a good time to mention, I've been recording my runs in an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, of course, I record my Shadow World times in this spreadsheet. Would you expect anything less? And I'm getting about 3 to 4 million anima per hour right now. So that's about 300 hours or so, depending on what I end up getting from the minigame store. So, I mean, I should get a little bit faster with the new weapons, but it's going to be a while. Wait, that's level 65. That's the level for Bladed Dive. Alright, so let's look at this. 65 attack. Bladed Dive unlocked. But I don't think I have 63 million anima. I do not. I barely have half of that. What am I talking about? I mean, I don't even have half of that. I just have 24 million. But what I will probably do is switch over to doing Mage, because my guess is Mage is faster than Melee here. I was pushing a little shy of 5 million anima per hour with Melee by the end. Maybe like 4.5 million anima per hour. But sometimes, if I got unlucky, I would just die. Like, despite getting the free food, which is great, I don't really have good sustain in Shattered Worlds. Like, I have no soul split or anything. And with Melee, sometimes I just get mobbed and killed, which wrecks your anima per hour. So maybe Mage will help with that because I don't have to run up close so I can pick my battles better. Plus it has better AoE. We'll see. All right, here we are. 64 million shattered anima. I have finally gotten enough to buy my first upgrade, which is just the tiniest fraction of what I need to do for this grind. I buy it, and I guess it disappears somewhere in here? How do I find this? Alright, found it. I was just being blind before. So now with Bladed Dive I can do stuff like this. Whoa, wow! They added, is that a new animation, that little forward roll? That is sick. So that's pretty cool. It's not actually that useful to me right now because I'm going to keep using magic in Shattered Worlds, but it does mean that I can now move pretty fast because I can flash and Bladed Dives move around the map. Editor Smash here. Voicing over this because I don't really explain it properly at the time, but what I discovered is that magic is much better than Melee in Shattered Worlds for me, like a good 33% better. I was getting over 6 million anima per hour with magic, which is great. Like, that's easily 100 hours saved over the course of this chunk compared to what I was doing with Melee. Anyway, back to real-time Smash. I was just looking at the unlocks, trying to work out what I should say for next time. I mean, there's just so much shit to get. Like, all these pets. And then there's all of these, like, fucking masks that, like, I can't even use. And there's 2 titles. Why do they make 2 titles for 150 million anima each? There's 3 titles! Who decided to put 3 titles in the anima reward shop? I mean, they're almost the most expensive thing. Some JMods, Magnum Opus, is putting the fucking Animaniac title into the Shadow World shop, so I waste 30 hours of my life? Why is it not just 1 title? It's so arbitrary. I mean, these things are at least useful, I guess, like, maybe not 30 hours of grinding useful, but at least do something. I mean, ugh. Anyway, I wanted to say, before I got sidetracked, that I'm going to start buying these Abyssal Slayer contracts for 500k anima, because this is potentially the only way I can train Slayer if I don't have a light source. Well, I can also buy these Slayer XP lamps for 6 million anima per pop, but and I'm a little embarrassed to admit this. I wrote a script in Python and worked out it would take 220 lamps to reach 96 Slayer this way. That's over 1 billion anima, and it would use up all the anima I was getting, so I'd be making no progress to unlocking the other rewards whilst I was doing that. But I reckon these Slayer contracts, maybe they're better Slayer XP per anima. We'll find out. I'm still hoping to get a good Slayer level during this grind, but I'm not really sure yet if 96 Slayer from lamps is a mean grind or not. Okay, it's a slightly shorter episode this time in terms of progress, with just getting about 10% of the Shattered Worlds grind done. I originally was going to put more in, but I spent a lot of time explaining the chunk at the start, so the episode's already getting kind of long. On the flip side, the next episode should be out a little bit sooner than my usual monthly cadence because I already have most of the clips for it. I'm deliberately breaking this chunk up into like sub-chunks, I guess, to make it more digestible, both for me and also hopefully for you guys watching. Let's go over exactly what I need from Shattered Worlds before I can move on. To be clear, this is not a comprehensive list of all my remaining chunk tasks, just the items I still need from Shattered Worlds. Firstly, I need all the unlocks that benefit the account. That's Bladed Dive and the 65 attack to use it. I've just got that this episode. Salt the Wound. This is a ranged DPS ability that will also come with a level 65 range requirement similar to Bladed Dive. I'll also need Slayer's Insight and the Aggression ability. Slayer's Insight gives me a flat 10% boost to Slayer XP for 30 seconds every 2 minutes, and Aggression makes up to 8 nearby monsters instantly aggro onto you. For the last of the useful items, there's 2 masks I need to get. The Mask of the Yellow Worm gives bonuses killing Desert Strike Worms, which are in my chunk, so that's a required unlock. I'll also pick up the Mask of the Ganodermic. This gives bonuses killing Ganodermic creatures in the Polypore dungeon, which is close but still a few chunks away. But it's actually tied, with some other masks, for my best in slot hybrid gear, because it counts as a tier 55 hybrid helmet. You might expect that the Mask of the Abyss, which is the most expensive mask at 100 million anima, will be better, but the Mask of the Abyss is only tier 50. The fact that this doesn't really make sense is a clever call out to a twisting nature for Shattered Worlds minigame itself. There's just so many layers to Jagex' world building. Speaking of the twisted nature of Shattered Worlds, I realise I've only given a brief overview of how the minigame works this episode. Next episode, I will go into more detail about exactly how the game works, and the strategies I've been testing to maximise my efficiency here. Moving on to Shattered World unlocks that don't benefit the account, I'm going to buy all 9 tiers of the Anima pet, because pets are cool. You have to buy each tier sequentially, and they total up to 176 million anima for all of them. The last item I'll need to buy is one of the 3 titles, whichever one I end up thinking is coolest. Why get one of these? Well, they don't benefit the account, but I want something to commemorate the hundreds of hours I'll spend here, and a title that seems to fit the bill. Why not all 3? Well, because each one takes 30 hours to unlock. Is this arbitrary? Yes. Will I be able to live with myself after not getting all 3 titles? Also yes. Outside of Shattered Worlds, we also completed the following chunk tasks. Smith myself full steel armor for my best in slot melee tank gear, and I completed all the 3 new diary tasks available in this chunk, which were all related to mining or smithing. Finally, for the levels we gained at this chunk. We went from 40 to 65 attack, 73 to 77 hit points, and 59 to 73 magic, all from Shattered Worlds. We went from 40 to 42 mining, as well as level 27 to 31 smithing, making full steel for my chunk tasks. Additionally, we went from 69 thieving to 71 thieving, because I started doing safe cracking in my AFK time. Turns out there's actually 2 safes in Alcarid, not just 1, so I don't even need to go back and forth to Lumbridge. It's like legitimately about 50k XP per hour, even without a stethoscope. And we got the following levels from daily tasks: 62 to 63 prayer, 34 to 39 herblore, and 31 to 33 slayer. So that's it. I hope you're all doing well, keep safe, and I'll see you next time.